from Outserve Web here speaking to you all. And today we're going to be discussing the perfect back office app stack solution. There you go. It's a bit of a mouthful. Try and say that 10 times fast. And obviously no size fits all e-commerce businesses, but Phil has been working with e-commerce businesses and has seen lots of different back operations that work together and what works well and what might not work so well, and hoping today that we'll learn lots of tips and tricks. Over the past kind of 6 months, we've really started to kind of drill down into what content and what do e-commerce businesses, what do they want to know? And we've kind of come up with some themes for the different content. And today we're kind of talking about automation and best practice, the big topics of today. So I will get you to give us a bit of background on who you are, how you got into the cloud world and e-commerce businesses and all of that good stuff. So I'll pass over to you, but thank you again for being here.
Thank you very much, Ellen. Thank you for having me. Really excited to be on the podcast and to be asked to be on. So yeah, I'll obviously keep the history obviously to a minimum, but my background is accountancy. So I trained as an accountant, worked at accountants in the UK, including BDO, which is quite a large firm over here. And then through that specialized in systems. So 20 odd years ago, started working with systems like Sage and looking at e-commerce businesses early on, and so had some great experiences. And then since then I wanted to obviously set up my own business and build a team offering services. So what we've got now, as much as I've got my background in accountancy, I've got a team of bean counters and a team of technologists and developers and geeks to hopefully help those e-commerce businesses sell even more and be more efficient.
Yeah, cool. Now, if you had to put yourself in a box, and I know, no one likes to put themselves in a box, but would you kind of view your practice as an integrator practice? Or, obviously you've come from this accounting background. How would you define what you guys do?
Yeah, I think probably in this sort of cloud ecosystem, app integrator is probably a reasonable title. I know again reasonably well known in the sort of Xero app space. So as much as we are a Xero partner, we are a Xero app integrator partner. Okay. So yeah, I think that would help, and it all comes back, as you say, into the automation and efficiency and integration of the systems. Yeah,
for sure. I find it so interesting because in today's world, right, accountants have almost had to learn these technology solutions, and some aren't quite as good as others. Some actually they've nailed it, and they're like, hey, look, we know the accounting and we also know what works and what doesn't work. But I think when it comes to an integrator that has such an amazing accounting knowledge, but also just understand how all the pieces fit together, is so valuable for businesses these days, especially when there are so many options. So do you find in your practice that you kind of lean more towards that app kind of stack, or like, do you help with accounting? How does that kind of work?
We definitely help with accounting, but we're not doing accounts work, and certainly not direct bookkeeping or tax or anything else. And that's great because we love accountants, we work with accountants, and they're definitely specialists in those areas, which allow us to focus on our client. Definitely, we work with our clients to discuss margin, how their sales reporting might be put together, their profit and loss, their balance sheet. And again, we can work very closely with the accountants there to make sure they get the right bits in the right place, especially when it comes obviously to taxes and sales and everything else. But we would always take advice and get the client to take advice from obviously qualified accounting and tax practitioners. Yeah,
fair enough. Now, today in particular, I do want to kind of talk about, like I said, that perfect kind of app stack that you roll out for your e-commerce businesses. And, do they vary between clients, or have you got a pretty, kind of set in stone, what would you say there? Set in stone kind of tech solutions available, or do you mix it up depending on the client?
As you say, there's not one size that fits all. But from our business consultancy, we are specialists in certain products.
Yeah.
and that we know for various reasons are well supported, functional for certain businesses. So in a way, we sort of attract the right sort of customers, but also go and find the right sort of customers. And we'd be the first to say that actually some of the solutions we work with maybe would not fit a customer we were talking to. But we have focused around some of the sort of leading solutions that we work with best and suit our client market best.
Right. Now, and so when these kind of clients show up on your doorstep, they bang down the door because they need help. Like, what size are they? Where are they at in their business journey? Is there kind of, what have they ticked off before they've arrived at your door? And where do they kind of go through from there? Look, gosh, I'm really asking a lot of questions.
No, and there is there's a lot of similarities on the clients who come. They may have very different products, but there are a lot of similarities with the people who are at times beating down our door. Often they have fantastic products, but often in that life cycle, they've done the sort of early years, maybe starting in their back bedrooms, pick, pack, wrapping everything themselves, having to get everything out the door. But what they've found is, because oftentimes they've either got great product, great marketing, great branding, they're really scaling now. They're growing very fast. And that's when suddenly all those fantastic spreadsheets they designed 5 years ago aren't quite, the solution they need to run their business. And they can be in quite a lot of pain by then, because they're looking to control their stock, become more efficient, and continue scaling. So we're probably in UK pounds, sort of multi-million turnover now, and really needing to go to that next level. And one of our initial questions to a lot of our new clients is, show us your spreadsheets.
Yeah.
There's always a dirty little spreadsheet somewhere in the background that in the end is being worked on to calculate so much. And that's what we want to see and understand what they're trying to run their business on.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, right? When they do have these spreadsheets and you're like, God, I mean, some of them you're like, wow, you've got this pretty good. Others, like, how are you so successful? Like, amazing, good on you. But yeah, kind of turning that into the seamless back office operation is so crucial to kind of get to that next level. And this is why I was really excited to talk to you today, because I feel like what you do at Outserve Web is essentially what I'm trying to bring attention to with the e-commerce back office, right? As you know, I work at A2X, but that's just one small piece to the puzzle. And I would really like to hear about kind of your other, obviously A2X, because always, but your other kind of solutions that you use for your clients. And yeah, what's that process, and how do you find they are always quite willing to adopt these solutions and that they trust your advice here? Or
I think, again, when people come to us, they are generally open. Although, as you probably know, there are people who are quite conservative, especially when we speak to some accountants who might have used Sage for 25 or 30 years. That's a big change. But one of our core products, you won't be surprised, is Xero. We're a Xero Gold partner, and nearly all of our clients do have Xero. And when we take people across to that, there isn't many that really love the product and see the benefits of going across, even if they were had their initial concerns that may because it's change, and wherever there's change, that needs managing in a business, and we would often say, as much as we look at software and systems, it's really about people and process. And that's where we spend a lot of our time working with the people and working with the processes to get these systems in correctly.
I love that. And that's so, so true. Because at the end of the day, it's the people using them, and they still want to achieve what they want to achieve, right? And you need to kind of be like, all right, well, with this solution now, this is what you need to do. This is what it's going to give you. So kind of first things first, you'd put them onto Xero for their financials. What does that look like?
So, and again, many clients will come to us with Xero already. We see a lot of that, and one of their big things, is we love Xero. We're a scaling business. We're getting so big now. We don't know how we can stay on Xero, and that's where we really help to say, well, there's lots of things we can do to keep a growing and scaling business on Xero. But equally, we've migrated people off many systems. People have moved from Sage or QuickBooks or even SAP Business One over, and we take them over that journey. And of course, that again is a big part of the system, is migrating their accounts either at year end, at quarter end, and making sure that all is as stable and as streamlined as possible as we go through a migration with accounting software, which is, it is a big thing.
For sure. And so would you you view Xero as maybe, obviously you've got your e-commerce sales platform that they're selling on. You've got Xero, which is where they're holding their chart of accounts and their bank deposits. They can see all their bank deposits. What other kind of apps are you using in the middle there to keep them on Xero, like you mentioned longer, those scaling businesses?
So I think one of the biggest apps that we use, again, to allow for the scaling businesses is a product called Unleashed, which is all about stock and inventory management, but also order processing. So what it actually allows, so what we get to with some of these e-commerce businesses, they have a lot of orders.
Yeah.
It could be thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of orders, and they're not going to go into Xero, but they can go into Unleashed, be processed in Unleashed for stock management. And again, we can integrate Shopify and Amazon into Unleashed as well. Right. And then use A2X, as you would know, to take the financials into Xero. So there's a very nice little app stack there, allowing Xero to still be the financials, but actually for Unleashed to become the center of stock and order processing and be able to cope with the volume. And cope with bringing the multi-channels in. Yeah,
amazing. And do you find these businesses, so I know we've kind of spoken about at the start, they might be wrapping and packing in the bedroom or the spare room, and then they're, doing these hundreds or tens of thousands of orders. Are they still coming to you with no inventory management system? Are you moving them onto Unleashed from another platform, or are you what's happening there? I'm sure there's lots.
It can definitely be both. They can come from a system, something like Sage again, where they have a level of inventory management, but it's not full inventory management.
Right.
So it's not what we'd call full stock control and order processing and integration. Some, again, spreadsheet. I am again amazed by companies with millions of turnover, thousands of orders that their stock management system is an Excel spreadsheet.
Wow.
And some, which really don't actually have a clear picture of what their stock is on any given day until they go around and count it physically.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's a very widespread there, but this is one thing that we do see a lot is e-commerce businesses wanting and needing to have a lot clearer picture of what their stock situation is, especially when you're selling across multi-channels, and especially in this day where trying to work out timescales wise of getting new product in and getting it out, especially when it's taking a long time. I would think in any country in the world these days to get raw materials in, to get products in, it's working out those pinch points and working out when that stock is going to become available. And sometimes that does need a bit more than a spreadsheet.
Yeah, for sure. And do you find, so obviously this, it almost sounds like a massive project though, going from a spreadsheet and then moving them into Unleashed. What kind of time frame are you dealing with when you're doing this for a multi-million-dollar e-commerce business?
And again, it's definitely thinking in multiple of months, not multiple of weeks.
Yeah.
And that's because there's so many moving parts and more to do with, again, people and process. We need the people to be trained. We need the systems to be set up and tested fully. And again, we would rush if I think it's the unfortunate thing of just human nature that we would always like things to be faster, and we always underestimate how long everything takes. And, all of our clients, generally speaking, everybody there has a day job to do anyway.
Yeah.
And to bring complete new systems in for stock management, warehouse management, order processing, that definitely needs to be planned. We do see a few clients who have maybe implemented the systems themselves, done absolutely the best job, but probably one of the biggest things they've done is they've rushed it.
Yeah.
And they've gone into it too quickly. And then in a few months or however long, suddenly it's then, well, I'm not getting the benefits I expected to get. And it's sometimes because the planning wasn't put in, the testing wasn't done properly, the training wasn't fully done, and actually spending those few weeks and months setting it up, getting it ready, doing the training, doing the testing, make sure everything's working, I think is, you'll reap the benefits of that for years to come. Yeah,
so true. It's like you take the time now and let's get it right. Like we're dealing with technology, let's make sure that we've got everything set up how we want to have it set up. And you're right, those benefits that we're all aiming for will come. Now, one more thing around this kind of inventory and unleashed, is there a certain kind of size business, like when is it that you think they need to have stock management, order processing? I suppose when they're ready to, but when the wheels fall off.
And I think that is it, isn't it? And of course, there are many businesses who maybe a lot smaller than the ones we generally deal with, who would benefit from it and to start early. And there's many ways you can get these systems. Again, onboarding directly with the software companies can be very affordable, and a sensible way to start for smaller businesses. I think it's when you realize that there's bad things happening in your business because you haven't got that control. You're disappointing customers because you thought you had the stock but you didn't have the stock, or you're not selling items because you didn't realize that you had them. You could have been listing them, but actually you didn't realize you had them in stock. It's all of those things that I'm sure gnaw away at e-commerce business owners going, oh, I've disappointed that customer because I ended up taking 2 orders for the same stock and didn't realize, or I could have sold that stock, but I didn't. And that's the sort of thing I think that eats away at you, that you could be better.
Totally. Do you know? So obviously we're in lockdown here in New Zealand, and I've been a bit naughty on the old online shopping. And I recently, so I found this really cool company and I actually bought some clothes. I bought a dress, which I loved. And then I thought, I'll add on these other things. And I knew I was pre-ordering. And then I kind of sent them an email, a week and a half later, like, hey, I can see it's not been dispatched. Like I didn't expect it to come. And they're like, oh, look, we're so sorry. That dress that's sold out and we're not getting it back in. And I know it sounds silly, but I'm not like a rude person. I wasn't like rude or anything, but they were like, do you want a refund? I was like, can I actually just get the whole refund back? Because in my head, I justified paying the shipping from Europe to New Zealand. And then I thought, I don't really want to pay it for just one item. And then, and I was like, that's such a shame, because it's obviously they've just sold too many from what they have, and they've disappointed customers, and it's not a great experience. And then you're kind of like, gutted, you need an inventory management solution. Can I suggest Outserve Web? But anyway, that's me just going off on a little story. What about kind of, so we've got Unleashed, and you've obviously got great relationships with the people at Unleashed. I've met them, super lovely people. I love lots of different features that they have. What else are you putting? You've mentioned A2X. Is there anything else that you're kind of using alongside those? So
we are, we're a Shopify partner as well. So we major in, and not surprisingly, because of the solutions there with A2X, it's a fantastic fit. So many of our Shopify customers are selling on Amazon as well. Right. So because of those integrations that you've got across A2X, Xero, Unleashed, that is a real nice collection there of an app stack of the core products. Yeah. But of course, as we know, basically in this ecosystem now, you've got all the apps that connect into those apps as well, that make really start to add value. And that's where we look for our customers also. So exactly, you mentioned customer support there with your experience. We'd be looking maybe for a Shopify customer to put something in like gorgeous, which helps with customer support. And that gorgeous brings into all your social channels as well. So somebody might come to you on Facebook and say, oh, my order's not arrived. They may send you an email. They may put it on Twitter. They may, it would become your chat box on your Shopify site. So it allows you to manage that customer, see their order through Shopify, understand, if it needs to be refunded or you need to send a replacement. We see often customers get a message on Facebook, receive an email, refund both, and realize it was the same customer, or they've sent out two more, and that's so easily done. Yeah. So we're looking for those apps that will really help, and of course apps that will increase sales as well. So many of our clients would use maybe Klaviyo for email marketing through on Shopify, or we work as well with HubSpot for CRM. It's having all of those areas covered, and we should never obviously neglect sales and marketing and how that's integrated into that whole system as well. Some of our clients are quite, I'd say, complex from a point of view of multi-channel sales. Not only do they do e-commerce, but they're also doing direct sales, but they could have a sales team out as well, that have a B2B portal going to wholesalers. So there's a real mix of D2C, direct to consumer, B2B, multi-channel. And when you've got that world, getting all those apps working together is so important.
Yeah. And when you're kind of, obviously you get your customer and they kind of probably explain to you, right, their pain points, what they're trying to achieve. Do you obviously spend some time scoping and thinking of like the perfect solutions for this individual customer, or do they quite often bring what they want to do and you kind of go and do that, or is it a bit of a mix of both?
There's always a mix. Obviously, we understand, but nearly all of our client work starts with a scoping. Yeah. And wherever we can, those initial scopings, we would go on site, really try and understand the business, see the business, and really understand from the key people there, meet all the stakeholders and like say, understand their goals. What are they trying to achieve? And a lot of time, they are looking to us to make those recommendations and suggestions and back them up with reasons of why they would be. They may have clear ideas of what they'd like themselves. And of course, we learn so much from our clients. The sales and marketing experts are the e-commerce businesses, and we learn so much from them, and the product experts and the brand experts. So it's fantastic for us to go and really learn from all of these different e-commerce businesses, and we could take that knowledge as well. And as we move on, we're always trying to help and look at new ways we can bring apps and technology and integrations to clients
and make their life easier. Now, do you find, so these people, like, I guess I kind of envision, they've got an e-commerce business, they've started this business, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, I need to, do tax returns. I need to know about my stock, inventory, all these things. They're like, hey, I just have this idea for this great product, and now I've got to have all my back office operations in order to make it successful. But obviously it can actually be different to that, right? You can have multiple members of a team working for your business at this point. What are you dealing with? Not a one-man band anymore, are you? And do you find that everyone is pretty open to technology, or do you think there's still some resistance there that you need to kind of, help them get over?
I think there can often be that resistance, and we will always look at a team of people that we'll be working with and try and understand which people we need to give that focus to if they've got concerns about technology or technology change, and put the right training in, the right support, and ensure that this is going to work for them. And it is worth saying that so much these days, some of these great e-commerce businesses rely on outsourced teams. We do have clients with literally millions of turnover, where with the core team of one, but everything is outsourced. Third-party logistics, third-party warehouses these days so popular. So you don't need your own warehouse, you don't need your own pick, pack, wrappers. That can be outsourced. Bookkeeping and accounting, that can be outsourced. So we could often be working with outsourced bookkeepers
Right.
accounting services. So we only not only thinking about the core e-commerce team that may be directly employed, but we're also looking at, right, who are they working with, who is supporting their business. And of course, it's a great way to grow and scale an e-commerce business is use those outsourced services, use third-party logistics. It's a way you can grow and scale, start relatively small and benefit from that. And of course, I completely understand that investing in warehouses is very expensive.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? You kind of think, in my head as well, I kind of think about these different app stack or these different kind of solutions as just another way to outsource work that you need to do, and you're actually outsourcing it to technology. And obviously at the end of the day, it's still going to need your human. You need to kind of look at what's going on, what that technology is supplying you, but it is just another way to lighten the load and ensure just accuracy and a seamless business operation. So that's very cool. What would you say are the biggest benefits for having kind of these tech stacks in place? And like, what are those businesses? What is that giving back to these businesses? Is it money, time? What are the impacts that people could kind of see on the front end?
Yeah, and I think there is obviously quite a list, and we always want to look at efficiency and time, but so much what we're looking at is actually we're giving business owners, people who are controlling the business, running the business, information. Data. So suddenly what they didn't have before is that they understood they made money because they had some cash in the bank, which is always lovely, but actually they didn't fully understand which products sold the best, which ones did they make the most margin on, and who was buying what was most profitable, and actually learning from that. Also, just how much have I got in stock? What's my full value of stock? Have I got too much stock of this product? Not enough. It's real key information to help you run the business better. Saving time and efficiency and automation is absolutely fantastic. But what we're really looking for is to deliver useful information to people to make decisions on, where they were literally before making decisions blind. Because they didn't have, it was all about, I think this, but actually I've not got the data to back it up. And being able to give people information about their business that they wouldn't have had before, that to us is fantastic. At the same time, becoming more efficient, saving time, getting that it's often people do get some information eventually, but it's not timely because they're not efficient and it takes too long. They may have their stock figure or their profitability 6 months after the year end. Well, that's no good. They need it now. They need it today. They need to make a decision today based on what stock have I got, what am I selling, what's profitability. Because we've saved time and given them efficiency, they can have that information today and not wait 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months.
Yeah, for sure. And you kind of maintain like an ongoing relationship with your clients, right? It's not kind of like set them up and see ya. Obviously, you've got the setting up, the implementation, your training. What else are you kind of doing kind of day to day or month to month with these clients to kind of make sure their back office is in order?
Yeah, I think so many of our clients do stay with us with sort of an ongoing relationship. So, there is so much going on in an e-commerce business, and we do become a bit like their outsourced systems team, just like you would outsource your 3PL, your warehouse. These great e-commerce businesses, again, often focused on their products, focused on sales and marketing, but they don't want to take on systems. And of course, as you know, the systems are always evolving. They're always wanting to add new things. And, there's always that phase 2, phase 3. What are we looking for next? Where are you going next? What are you going to need? And as we put things in, the business changes and grows and scales again. And then there's other things that they need to look at. So much as we get more and more data into the systems, we're looking at reporting and business intelligence for clients. And that's sort of an ongoing thing as well, because they learn more for the data, they understand what reports they want. And now you have got quite a lot of information spread across different systems. We need to start bringing that data together. So there's a bit of a life cycle of our clients as well, initially getting those systems set up, getting them, using them, making them operational, through to the real understanding, working with the data, getting the information they need, And that's the things that really it is ongoing for us, that we can be here, holding their hand through it, training new staff, answering queries, and anything like that. And I think it is the fact we have a close relationship with our clients, we understand their business, and we're available to talk to. So I think we do get very close relations and become hopefully an integrated part of their team by being part of their outsourced team. Yeah,
amazing. And do you I'm sure you've got some great success stories. I'm sure there's horror stories. Everyone has a few horror stories, facepalm moments, as we call them. What kind of feedback do you get from clients, like the massive kind of differences they see from when they kind of came to you, from when they've kind of implemented and have been training and have been working with these systems and having a simplified kind of back office operations? What's their main feedback to you?
And obviously we get lots of feedback, and good, the good and the bad as well, like you say. And one of the things that we'd always say is, when you put these systems in, they do need managing.
Yes.
And they need using correctly. And a spreadsheet is very forgiving when that's all you've got to run a business on. If you're going to put systems in, and that's again where we support and look after people and try and prepare them for, here's all the lovely benefits, but you'll only get these benefits if you also have the team there, have the key people who can operate the systems and understand those systems on a day-to-day basis. But it is, understanding and realizing, and sometimes it is again taking on the data. They didn't have any of this information before. Now they've got the information. It's like, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
And what's the key pieces of information? What's it telling me? And then we're again working with them on those areas. So a lot of businesses aren't used to having that level of data and information. And sometimes it could be information overload. And then we've got to go, right, let's have a look at what's the key bits of data here. What's it telling you? And what can we put maybe in a monthly management pack, a sales reporting pack that can really help you now start to use this information to make decisions.
Yeah, for sure. And I suppose, if you're kind of just used to having this kind of information, like, okay, I've got money coming into my bank account and I'm very attached to this product and this is why I started the business. Have you found that, like, once you kind of put these systems in place for them, that actually this product that they were quite attached to isn't doing as well as they thought it was, and that they should maybe invest their time and resource into another line? Has that happened, or do people kind of know by that point?
I think people always have an inkling, they have a feeling a lot of the time, but obviously when they actually see the figures and understand, the margin they make, especially when they may be selling to some very large supermarkets on some very small margins, or by the time you've gone through Amazon and you've paid your fees and understood what actually boils down in profit at the end of the day. It gets really interesting. That's again where we want to drill down and understand, right, how much have you spent on advertising, how much you're spending on Google ads, driving stuff to your own shop, and really understand what profit is coming from this. And absolutely, I think all of our great customers are always thinking, what's that next product? And actually, what's the next great product? But which of our products at the moment do we not need? And what should we be focusing on? And obviously, with just people generally, our tastes change. We want new things, and our clients want to grow. And a lot of that time, it's bringing on new and exciting products, often based on what has been successful in the past, and stopping the products that are not being successful.
Yeah, for sure. I do love what you said, though, a couple of really cool things, and, obviously how it's people and processes, and also how businesses come to you and they're doing really well and they want to sort all these things out, but they also want to continue scaling. It's not like they reach a place, right, and they're like, this is where I am. It's just continuing to evolve. And so that's why it's so great that Outserve Web, you do offer that kind of maintaining their integrations in the cloud for them, which is really cool. If I would like, we can start to wrap it up, but I always do like to kind of have, if I could ask you, if you were talking to an e-commerce business and they're trying to be like, right, okay, I've got a great product, I've got customers, you know, my website's looking great, I've got content, but you know, they're like, I'm working from a spreadsheet right now. Obviously, step one, find an amazing integrator.
Yep.
But like, what are some key kind of tips that you would have for an e-commerce business that was in that position today, and that they could kind of go away and actually do something practical to kind of put themselves in the right direction with their back office?
You know, I think the first practical tip is go and talk to other people in your space, in your industry, and learn from them as well, because those are the people who've often been and seen and done it. What I find generally with our clients is that they will often talk to other people in their industry.
Yeah.
And again, that might be someone coming to me and say, can I speak to one of our clients? And I'd absolutely say, yeah, you know, go and talk to them. Because they're the people who really, you know, understand it. Don't necessarily go to a salesperson of a software company. They often, you know, they have lots of good stories. Go and talk to people in your industry who are in e-commerce, even people I know who think they may be competition. It's fantastic to see them, you know, talk, share, and you know, share their experience, good and bad. And obviously, it's the bad that is so important. Is don't do this. I did this, and this is why it didn't work for me. But also understand, just because it didn't work for them doesn't mean it didn't work for you, but trying to understand. And I think that's so useful. I think more than ever, we've got to come together as an e-commerce community, and those e-commerce businesses talking to each other, you know, with social media and WhatsApp groups and all the stuff that we can do now, is go and talk to those other businesses in similar industries, or just in e-commerce in general, and learn what they've done. And I think that sort of thing can be so useful. But also understand that just because it didn't suit them doesn't mean it wouldn't suit you, and vice versa. Just because it was brilliant for them doesn't mean that it will be for you either. And then I think absolutely, you know, come and talk to us or the app integrators about, you know, what the options are and things that they could look at. And we're very happy to talk to people who are in that earlier part of the journey, and maybe they're not ready, but say, well, these are things you can start thinking about. These are things you start looking at yourself. We're always happy to signpost to different things. And as you know, there's some fantastic webinars, some great people you can talk to. Hopefully we'll get back to things like shows and exhibitions. There's always something out there that you can go and see. So I think really my advice is talk to people, talk to lots of people, and get lots of information.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, and you're so right, about talking to actually customer, or, you know, not sorry, they're obviously customers for HBX, but they're not. They're regular, you know, they're e-commerce businesses, they're real people, and they're walking those same steps with you. And that's what I do. You know, there's a difference between a customer story and a case study, where, you know, a case study is how a certain software changed a business, which does happen. But there's also those stories that are actually like, hey, this is what I did when I was working with customers, or this is how I chose the different software solutions, or all of that good stuff. But yeah.
And I'm sure all e-commerce businesses do this as well, but certainly it was like, you know, talk to your customer. Talk to your customer about what they want. Understand, you know, do they all want to buy on Amazon? Do they want to buy, you know, why do they not buy off your own website? And, you know, are you selling wholesale? Do they want a B2B port? Talk to the, you know, it's what the customer wants that matters the most. And how can then you build your systems to facilitate you giving the customer the best experience and the best products, because that's will make you as successful as possible.
Yeah, cool. Hey, thank you so much, Phil, for talking about, you know, all things e-commerce and back office operations today. It's really fascinating, and I know you work with so many amazing e-commerce businesses. You'll actually have to let me know which that coffee, do they ship to New Zealand? Because I'm a bit of a
I'll look them up. So that was Origin Coffee, wasn't it? So quick plug for them there.
Yeah, Origin Coffee.
Have a look them up. Based in Cornwall in the UK, but yeah, very popular, as you can imagine, in some of the lockdowns that we've had.
Yeah,
can't get to the local coffee house, unfortunately. So have coffee at home.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much.